You can tell what I've been doing the past few days. And it's been hot in Missouri. Extremely, extremely hot. So it hasn't been fun. But it's at least shady this evening. So it's time to do a video that I've been waiting since the beginning of the channel to do. And that's the bug out bag video. Had a lot of questions and comments and requests. What's in the bug out bag? Facebook friends, family, everybody. I've had questions on this for a long time because they know this has been a work in progress for many, many years. This is trial and error. This is testing. This is actually wearing this beast. This is going out using things in the field. This is tweaking it to the max. This thing first made its appearance in my gear about 15 years ago in a different backpack, and this is the final version of it. So we're going to go through it tonight. Well, good evening to you, YouTube. Welcome back to Sheepdog Preparedness. Kenny with you. You may hear some gunshots in the background, a little bit of training going on there behind me. But wanted to go over the bug out bag tonight with you. Everybody's bug out bag will look somewhat different just because your needs are different, your environment is different. There are many factors that go into deciding what goes in your bug out bag. There are basics you should cover. This is going to just give you some ideas as to what I've got in mind. Something I've been tweaking on for many, many years. And we'll break this down pocket by pocket and show you what I carry in it. And this beast is ready to roll. I've got redundancy on things. I don't ever have to steal anything from this bag to put in my hiking bag, to put in my EDC bag. Everything that's in this bag stays there. Nothing ever gets robbed. So sometimes you may have to buy some extra things or grab some extra things so that you've got this bag ready to go. So let's break it down for you. Okay, well, the bag itself, this is the second bag that I've had over the years. Started out with just a normal backpack and then moved over to this tactical bug out bag from LA Police Gear. I like their products, buy a lot of stuff from LA Police Gear. Molly webbing on this beast, 2 pockets on the outside, and then a main compartment. It does have some openings for running your camelback webbing through if you wanted to put a camelback inside. I do have 2 or 3 camelbacks, but on this setup I have other things going on other than the camelback for my water. So in this first pocket, first thing that jumps out at you, you see a fishing reel. Turn that knob, fold the handle out, and bug out scenario if I need to fish. Well, say, where are you going to carry a fishing rod at there, dude? It's right here. Pull the cap off of this bad boy, fold it all out, and there she be. You got a collapsible fishing rod. This attaches at the bottom, you tighten it up, and I have a fishing pole with me in the bug out bag for potentially catching something that's going to taste a little bit better than food ration bars or other things that I've got stashed in this bag. Just in case. Got some wire with me for snares, making snares for catching small animals, rabbits, squirrels, things along those lines. Got carabiner in here with a couple of military style can openers on there. Run onto some supplies along your route during bug out. Run into some canned goods, that's going to get you into those cans. Got a little simple Coghlan survival kit in the can just for some extra goodies. There's a few odds and ends in here. This will stay sealed, emergency purposes only, to go along with the fishing setup. This is a neat little container that I purchased on wish.com. These are about $1 a piece, $2 depending on the buyer you get them, the seller you get them from. Open that latch, Got 4 containers in there, 4 separate compartments. I've got some crappie jig bodies. Open up the inside, got a large compartment with some fishing sinkers. The other compartments, I got the jig heads with the hooks and some more jig bodies. This is a nice little fishing kit. 8 compartments total in this little container. Pretty slick deal for a couple of bucks. Got a notebook in there for keeping notes. Got an SE arrowhead. And these basically are meant to form an arrow on the fly out in the field. You lash this to a stick, and that way you can form an arrow on the fly if you wanted to make a bow and arrow in the field, or if you wanted to make a spear for spear fishing. This is the beast to do it. It's got the holes in it ready for lashing to your spear or your arrow. Got some fishing bait. Had a buddy give me these. He's carrying some of these in his bug out bag, so he hooked me up with a jar of those. Those are going to be great. I carry Ziploc bags everywhere, in my EDC, in my bug out, in my camping. This keeps important gear dry when you want to put something important into that Ziploc bag to keep it out of the rain, or it'll let you gather supplies if you happen to go mushroom hunting or foraging for some kind of berries or something like that. It gives you a container to put them in. I carry a knife sharpener with me in this bag. 2-stage knife sharpener with coarse and fine on it. These things are pretty good. Got to keep a great edge on your knife. Keep a lensatic compass in here. And we've got a multi-tool, full-size multi-tool. Nothing spectacular, just something to have a few odds and ends in case you need it. Got an ink pen in there for the notebook. Got a pencil floating around in here somewhere too. There he is. I keep extra fishing line wrapped around the pencil, and I keep a bunch of duct tape wrapped around the pencil, so I've got duct tape with me inside the bug out bag. Next little item. Pretty slick little device. What do we all have with us pretty much everywhere we go? Our cell phones. How are you going to charge that phone when you're out and about? And what I do, if it gets down to the SHTF scenario, there may not be a cell phone signal, but I still have important documents on my cell phone. I have a survival folder on my cell phone where I keep important documents. Survival manual is on there. County maps of every county, the county I live in, and every adjoining county. Every last gravel road, lakes, ponds, everything, they're on those maps, and that's all stored on my cell phone, where I can pull that up, zoom in on those, and have maps with me wherever I'm at, without having to have a huge bunch of folding paper maps in the way. Well, that phone needs to have juice to stay charged so I can see those maps. So how am I going to do that? This is a little device from Bushnell. It's a charger. It's got some covers on the end similar to a scope. You can see the output there on the end, USB output for charging your phone. There's the input for charging the battery that's in the center of this tube. There's enough juice in this battery to fully charge a couple of smartphones. Well, bug out scenario, how are you going to charge this? Oh, wait till you see this. This unrolls, and that is a solar panel in there, my friends. Hang this on your backpack as you're hiking along and let that set in the sun, and that solar panel will charge that battery that's inside there. And at the end of the day, when you set up camp and you're sitting around the fire, you can plug your cell phone back into that and charge it. So, pretty slick little device. It all rolls right back up, stores real handy. There's Velcro on there. You put your scope covers on the end of it there. And that's made by Bushnell. I'll put the link to this down below. This particular one came from Midway, USA. It also comes with a USB cord so that you've always got one of those handy with you for either charging that or charging your cell phone or tablet. One more item it looks like in this pocket besides a couple of rubber bands. Rubber bands are handy. I always keep those around. And I mentioned this in my EDC bag video, the Gerber dime. Love these tools. Absolutely love them. Carry one in my pocket with me every day, all day. And this is the same exact tool, only the black version of it, and that's for my bug out bag. Alrighty, here we go with pocket number 2. It's down here on the front in the lower portion. Undo the compression straps here. Another feature I like about the LA police gear bag is the compression straps. Okay. First thing that comes out of there, spare fuel cubes for a folding stove, and you'll see the folding stove when we get to the inside compartment. I keep these inside of an exterior Ziploc bag, even though they're in the pouch and sealed, because they have kind of a fishy smell to them. They have fish oil in them, so they will kind of have a funky smell. So I keep them sealed away from everything else. Got a sewing kit in case you have a need for that. Got some glow sticks in there. Since this is considered a 72-hour bug out bag, I've got 3 glow sticks, 1 for each day. Got a Heumann survival ring saw. Grab these rings on each end and pull it back and forth across a log, and it basically is a makeshift chainsaw. Pretty handy little device. Got some emergency candles. Package of those. More Ziploc bags. Always make sure I have tons of those on hand. Ozark Trail. I showed you this exact little light in my EDC bag. One of these gets carried with me every day. This is the second one I bought brand new to keep in the bug out bag. I just leave it in the package so the batteries are sealed and away from the light. And this is a flashlight / lantern. They're a slick little device to come from Walmart. Radio receiver. This is a world band receiver, so I can get AM, FM, and shortwave and everything like that on it. Picks up stuff from all over the globe. Just takes some little AA batteries. And we've got fire starting kit. I'll show you the contents of that in just a moment. Got a headlamp with white light and red light for night vision, so you can see what you're doing and not necessarily give away your location. Okay, let's open up this fire starting bag that I showed you. This is in that front pocket on the bug out bag. Zippered pouch that I keep everything in. We've got paratender fire starting paracord. It's a length of paracord. I've showed you these before. There is fire starting material in the middle of that paracord that allows you to start fires much easier. You just unravel it. A bag of dryer lint with a silica gel pack in it to keep it dry. Got a cigarette lighter in there. This container is a 35mm film canister. That is cotton balls saturated with petroleum jelly. Got a magnesium fire starting bar with a saw on it for shaving away pieces of the mag stick. And then you strike the edge of the ferro rod to start firing. And I've also got a package of the military surplus fuel bars. These are trioxane. This bar can be broken up into several pieces to start a fire. These are slick. They're very handy. 3 of those bars inside that box. And those things will burn hot. So those are awesome. You will get a fire started with some wet material with these bad boys. So there's the last of that pocket, and that's all the outside of the bag. Let's get into the inside of it. Okay, main compartment of the bug out bag. Just a pair of those mechanics style gloves. Just something simple that gives your hands some protection for gathering wood, cutting wood, using tools, keeping your hands protected from sharp things and briars and whatnot. This is the collapsible bag for the Sawyer Mini filtration system. You remember seeing this bag when I went over the Sawyer Mini system. Before taking off in a bug out scenario, I would probably fill this bag up with clean water. Platypus bag. Also a nice collapsible bag. This is a liter if you wanted to fill it partially, but it will hold 2 liters if you want to fill it completely. If I was to fill this thing completely with 2 liters, this would probably be enough water to get me by myself for a couple of days, as far as drinking water goes. So just to be on the safe side, we got another one that's another liter, and I fill this one. So bug out scenario, the platypus in this one would definitely get filled before I would take off. Saw your mini system, I showed you that in another video. That's where it stays stored in a nice Nalgene bottle. That's where my filtered water ends up going in a bug out scenario. On the road, out there in the field, if I'm filtering water, the dirty water would start out in here, and as it gets filtered, ends up in here, so I can seal this up and carry it with me and drink clean, drinkable water. I have a shemagh in here. I love shemaghs. They are awesome. Tons of uses. They can serve as a primary filter to get you started with taking large things out of your water you've gathered. They can cover you up to help conceal you and act as camouflage. They can act as a tablecloth. They can act as a wound dressing. They can act as a sling. There are a million uses for shemaghs. I have several shemaghs. Gotta have a head cover. You're gonna need a cover for when those sun rays get too hot to keep you from getting burned. This is a military surplus boonie hat that also just happens to be treated with some insect shield called Buzz Off, so it helps keep mosquitoes away from you. These things fold up nice and small, so it fits in that bag. I've got a couple of those. One of them rides in my EDC. There's another one of those little kits like what you saw earlier, only this is a personal toiletry kit in this one. Open this up, we've got some hand wipes. We've got hand sanitizer. We've got dental floss, which also has many more uses other than just flossing your teeth. We've got the military surplus insect repellent. And I've got several packages of the military surplus toilet paper like that you see it comes out of MREs. A net bag comes in handy for gathering things. Morel mushrooms grow in these parts. If it's the right time of year, it's a perfect bag for gathering some mushrooms. This front pouch here unzips. I've got hand warmers and foot warmers in there. Got some orange cloth for signaling. Bought this little device on Amazon, I believe it was. It is a paracord spool. You wrap 100 feet of paracord around this beast, and as you can see right there is a razor blade for cutting. You slide the cordage into the slot for cutting it. There are several ways of wrapping the cord around it, and it has a holder on this side that holds a mini Bic lighter. So I've got 100 feet of paracord with me in the bug out bag, and a tool to help me work with it. Love that tool. First aid kit. Inside the first aid kit, we've got alcohol pads. We've got BZK wipes for disinfecting. We've got a triangular bandage for making a sling. We've got tons and tons of different sizes of band-aids and military surplus bandages and gauze. We've got a suture kit that is sterile for suturing up a wound, stitching somebody closed if they've got a large wound. And we've got 4x4s and 2x2s and all sorts of sterile combine dressing and pads, some rubber gloves, and some bandage tape in there. Food-wise, this is what I carry. Emergency rations. There are enough rations in here to get one person by for 72 hours. You may not be eating high on the hog, but folks, this is a bug out scenario. This is last ditched, oh crap, we got to get out of here and get somewhere else scenario. You're not going to care what you're eating as long as you're eating something at the time, just to get where you're going. This is small. It's much easier to carry than 3 days worth of MREs or a bunch of other stuff. The bug out bag needs to be compact, lightweight, and keep you on the move. Therefore, this is why I chose these. High in calories, very dense, and that'll get me by for 72 hours. And I can forage and fish and whatnot. An emergency tent inside this bag. If I can't find shelter or make shelter, I carry it with me. This is very lightweight. It's an emergency shelter. It's not something that's made to withstand being put up and taken down a million times. If you only get usage out of it during your bug out, then it's done its job. At least you have shelter. I have backup shelter. Redundancy. Remember, folks, gotta have more than one. This is the SOL Sport Utility Blanket. As you can see in the picture, you can make a shelter out of it. You can build a fire underneath it so that the silver reflects the heat back onto you. You can wrap up in this thing. You can lay down on it. You can make a carrying container out of it for carrying firewood and other things. Slick little device. I also carry a military surplus rain poncho. These can be used as shelters. They have grommets on them. You can string a couple of them together, snap them together, and make an A-frame style shelter. Otherwise, one person can wear this. It can go over your head, cover your backpack, and at least you and your pack are dry. This is a military surplus item. Several companies make those aftermarket also. This is a hammock. This is an entire one-person hammock inside this tiny little bag, a net hammock. It will hold your weight. This one's rated for about 250 pounds, and the whole thing is in this nice little bag. So if I can string this up between a couple of trees, at least I'm off the ground. And that I could see coming in very handy, especially if I can build a fire off to the side and put that SOL utility blanket up to reflect that fire over towards me. Beats the heck out of sleeping on the cold ground. Another tool that I carry that's in this compartment. This is a SOG tool. Sport utility machete. They call it the SOG Fari. SOG Fari. I'll put a link to this down below. This one came from Midway, USA. You've got a machete for hacking things. You've got a saw blade on the back for cutting firewood. It's a pretty sturdy piece of equipment, and it's not extremely heavy. Another net bag. Love those things. Got a spoon, just because a spoon is a handy tool. Okay. Save that other item for a moment. Got a bunch of napkins down there in the bottom, just plain old paper napkins. This is the cooking kit. You saw this in the EDC bag video. In the front, the Esbit camping stove, cook stove, some of the fuel tablets. These are the fuel tabs that I showed you that were in the box earlier that I talked about having the fishy smell to them. Esbit stove folds up like so for a small container, or folds up all the way for a large container. I usually put foil in the bottom of it and set my fuel tab on top of the foil. That way it's a little less messy. They do have that fishy oil going on. When it burns down, it kind of leaves a little residue behind. And inside, since I've got a stove, I gotta have a vessel to cook in. So there's the Stanley nesting cook set. Got the lid that comes off. You got the handle that folds down like so you can set it on and off the fire. I keep this bad boy loaded with instant coffee, Lipton cup of soup, all different flavors of that, more instant coffee. There's some tea in there. Just little convenience items that kind of give you a little bit of the comforts of home if you're in that bug out scenario, and you're, something to lift your spirits. If you can sit down and gather some nice water and purify it, you can cook you a hot mug of soup, and you'd be surprised what that'll do for your morale. Got cider and hot chocolate and things like that. That Stanley set comes with a coffee mug, so got that in there, and some more goodies to kind of help boost the spirits. Okay. And looks like a rolled up pair of socks. It basically is. I won't unroll this all the way, but I'll put a link down to this below to show you how to roll these. This basically, I'll go over this in another section here. Okay, had to get in a little different position here to function. I got too much stuff in my way here, folks. The roll I was starting to talk about that I keep in there, this is called a skivvy roll, S-K-I-V-V-Y. I'll put a link down below. Your socks are on the outside of it, but as you can see, there's a t-shirt in there. There's a special way for rolling these. I won't unroll this one, but what it is it's a dry shirt and a clean pair of underwear and a dry pair of socks. And oh my goodness, imagine how great you'd feel to be able to put those things on if you'd been cold and wet and you finally got dried out and you had a great, nice, clean, dry pair of socks and a clean shirt and all that good stuff. So a skivvy roll could come in handy, kind of give you another morale boost like we talked about with some of those other items. Okay folks, that does it for the bug out bag. As you'll see, all the bases are covered in there. Fire, shelter, water, food, tools, communications, light, medical. And I ran through that so fast I probably forgot something, but all the bases are covered. Clothing, forgot that. So it's all in there. Redundancy. You know, the old 2 is 1, 1 is none thing. So got extras of just about everything, several different forms of shelter, and that stuff all pays off in the end. Just like with anything else, that redundancy could be the key in your survival. Now, the bug out bag is typically one of the first things that everybody tries to get assembled when they get started. I would, if it was me, concentrate first on being able to bug in if you can. Gather enough food and water and medical supplies and everything to get your family by for a minimum of 30 days is what I suggest starting with. And you can watch my video that's posted in the video section called Where Do I Start? And that's definitely where I recommend that you start first, is get those things taken care of. And when you get to that stage and you know you've got those items ready, get a plan together on how to defend and protect those items. Guns and ammo. And I know a lot of people don't like to think of that thought, but that's just the nature of the game, folks. If you got it, someone else is going to want it. You've got to be able to protect it, and you've got to have not only the protection, but you've got to have a means of going out and gathering more food and hunting. So the guns and ammo is a huge part of that. I'm going to do another video soon on guns and what I recommend that are the basics to get you by. Once you've got that done, I would start on a bug out bag, and I'd do it for every member of the family. Make sure that each person has their own bag with their own supplies. And that's what I've done for myself and my daughter. She's got everything she needs in her own separate bag because her needs are different than mine. Everybody needs their own things. She has her own water filter, her own stuff. Like I said in the beginning, your bug out bag is going to differ from mine. It depends on where you live. Climate's going to have a lot to do with what you're carrying with you. And the time of year means a lot as to what you're carrying in that bag. That bag is an evolving thing. With Missouri the way it's been lately, I mean, here we are not even a week away from October and it's still been 90, 95 degree heat index. So that's a short sleeve shirt that's in there. That'll change once the weather finally cools down. I'll add some different items in there that'll keep me warm besides just the hand and foot warmers. There'll be some different clothing that'll go in that bag. When I first started that project and I redid that bug out bag, less than a year ago, that bag was to the point to where I thought it was done until I strapped it on and took some hikes with it and played around with it. That thing weighed 40-some pounds. That's too much. And some people will tell you that's not too much. Well, maybe if you're 25 years old, which I'm not, with my back the way it is and with the heat the way it can get in Missouri and the fact that I'm going to be also carrying some other things, plus those water bottles are going to be full of water, it was just too much weight to be comfortable. So I stripped it down, I rethought the whole thing, taking into account what I'd learned over the years, what I'd taught in preparedness classes to other people, and started practicing what I was preaching. I'm a gadget person, so I have to watch myself. And so try not to fall into that trap. treat that bug out bag as it's the last resort. You hope you never have to grab that bag and use it. If I take that bag, it's bad, folks. It's really bad. I have decided that I can't stay where I'm at anymore, and my only option is to throw that pack on and foot it out of here and go somewhere else. That's bad. That's the worst. So you hope you don't have to use it. So don't throw the best of everything in there. Put the necessities in there. Make sure you've got the basics covered and get it done. It shouldn't cost an arm and a leg to put a bug out bag together. I've got stuff in there that I probably still don't need in there because of over redundancy. That just gives you some ideas of where I've gone with it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you picked up on a few things from it. Please comment below. I'd love to hear your ideas and some pictures or some links to your videos on what you're carrying. That's what this is all about, us sharing ideas with each other. I don't claim to know it all because I sure have a whole lot more to learn, even though I've been doing this a long time. I learn something new every single day. Sometimes it's from comments from other people, sometimes it's from other videos. And that's what we're trying to do here, folks, is share ideas and help each other out. We're all in this together. So, as always, I care about you. I pray for you. I want you to get your stuff together because rough times are ahead, folks. I guarantee you that. Rough times are ahead, and I still say that they're ahead before the end of this year. I really do. America is not coming back, but Jesus is. And there's a lot of stuff still ahead. There are trying times ahead. Be sure and watch the other channels that I recommend. Viking Preparedness is a great one. Check out Pastor Dow for Straightway Ministries, another great channel. And we'll see you again next time, folks. Take care of yourselves. Are you ready?